Hello all my yarny friends, I'm Sara Sach. Welcome back to my crochet channel. Now this video I'm going to show you how to crochet the snowbound cowl. Now I wrote this pattern and designed this about 10 or 11 years ago, and I never ever did a video for it. The pattern is out there on my blog, and so I thought what we'd do is make a video for it, and I wanted to retest the pattern anyway, and I was going to use different yarns, but Hobby Lobby still carries this yarn that I used, and so we're just going to do that. This is a very simple pattern. We basically start at the top up here with our foundation double crochet row, and then you're just going to do the same repeat row for as many rows as needed, and then we'll end with these rows down here that are just double crochet rows. All right, it's really simple. Then we add the fringe, we make a tie and add some pom-poms, and it's super cute. It's a super versatile style cowl because it measures about 46 inches around and it's about 12 inches tall. And that's not counting the fringe really, because you can make the fringe as long as you want or as short as you want, or don't put it on at all. Totally up to you. All right. Now it is stitched using 2 strands of medium weight number 4 yarns. And we'll talk more about that yarn in just a couple minutes in that materials portion of our video. But like I said, it's a really super 1 row repeat once you get going, and then you end with these double crochet rows here at the end. It's just a super easy and super fun pattern. Now you can wear it on your shoulders like a mini poncho. You can drape it long. If you don't want it as big around as the 46 inches, you can do less stitches at the beginning and make it just a little bit smaller, or you want it even bigger, you can add more stitches. All right, it's just a simple and fun yet beautiful, and because we're using a sparkle yarn, I don't know if you can see those sparkles, but because we're using that sparkle yarn, it has a very elegant feel to it. Now you can find the complete pattern, as I said, on my blog, and I'll put that blog link down in the notes underneath this video. So you don't need very much supplies to make this because we're not adding any ribbons, buttons, bows, or anything. We're doing everything out of the yarn. And the yarn that I'm using is I Love This Yarn Metallic, and the color is Ivory. And if you watched last week's video, we made a snowbound ear warmer headband. And we used the exact same yarn. Now we're not going to be changing colors like we did on that, but you could if you wanted them to match color-wise. Now the stitches aren't the same, of course, but that one was super easy as well and goes along really great with this, and that's why I went ahead and called them both snowbound, meaning these are perfect for snowy weather. All right, and so you're going to need 10 ounces of a medium weight number 4 yarn. Each one of these skeins has 5 ounces on it. Where did I read that? Here it is. 5 ounces, which is 252 yards. So you're going to need 2 skeins of a medium weight number 4 yarn. You don't have to use the sparkle. You can do this in any colors that you want. You could even just get in your yarn stash excuse me, and mix and match your colors. All right, so 10 ounces of medium weight number 4 acrylic yarn. Now we're going to be stitching today with the J hook, which is a 6mm crochet hook. You're going to need a pair of scissors because we're going to make pom-poms, and you're going to need to trim those, and we're going to make fringe, and then you're going to need a needle. I almost called it a scissors. You're going to need a needle for weaving in all those ends, and you really won't have very many because at the beginning and the end, really. So this is just a super easy and fun and gorgeous pattern. So we're going to be stitching our cowl holding 2 strands of yarn together, and you can either roll it in a ball like this with your 2 strands, or you can pull from both ends, the outside and the end of your one skein, or since we're using 2 skeins, you can just grab 2 skeins and pull from both those ends. All right, or if you're just using leftover yarns, just make sure you're holding 2 strands of medium weight number 4 yarn together. Now, every time I do this, a lot of people ask me, do you have to do it that way? And the pattern is written for this, so if you deviate from that, for instance, you say a bulky number 6, it'll still turn out, it'll just be bigger. Or you just want to do 1 strand, it'll still turn out, it'll just be a whole lot smaller, okay? And so the pattern is written using 2 strands of medium weight number 4 yarn together. All right, let's get started. We're going to begin by stitching foundation double crochets. You're going to need 112 of those because this is stitched in multiples of 4, and that's how you will adjust this, by multiples of 4. And you can get the information for that, of course, also on that link that has the pattern. All right, so we're going to yarn, make our slip knot. We're going to chain 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Now we're going to yarn over. We're going to go in that 4th chain, pull up a loop, yarn over and only stitch through those first loop, That's your chain. And now we're just going to finish our double crochet. So yarn over, go through the first 2 loops, yarn over and go through the second 2 loops. So you've created your chain and your double crochet. So now we're going to stitch, yarn over, go in that chain that we made, pull up a loop, yarn over, just go through that first chain or first loop, yarn over and go through the next 2, yarn over and go through the next 2. All right. And so by doing this, we're giving the top of our cowl a nice stretchy edge. All right, now you need to stitch 112 foundation double crochets. Yarn over, go through the chain, pull up a loop, yarn over, go through that first loop, yarn over, and just finish your double crochet. All right, now if you turn it this way, you can see it's nice and stretchy. All right, and so what we're going to be doing is stitching 112 foundation double crochets. Now, just an FYI, I'm not going to be stitching that many. I'm going to just make us a swatch to teach you how to make the cowl. I'm only going to be stitching 28. But you need to stitch 112 foundation double crochets. Now I have stitched the 28 that I'm going to stitch, but of course you need to have 112 foundation double crochets. Now, something that I like to do so that I don't have to keep recounting is I put a stitch marker in every 10 stitches. So I've got 10, 20, and then these 8 stitches. All right, and that will help you when you're doing a long foundation double crochet or even a long chain if you mark it with stitch markers every 10 stitches. All right, I'm going to go ahead and pop those out because this is my swatch. And again, I'm not doing 112, I'm only doing 28. But you need to do 112, and you'll notice it's nice and condensed because we're using 2 strands of yarn, but it's also very stretchy. And that'll make the top of your cowl very comfortable. All right, so once you get your stitches done, we're going to join them together. And remember, when you're counting your 112, this chain 3 at the beginning that we skipped, it counts as your first double crochet. And we're going to join to that chain 3 with a slip stitch. And we'll go ahead and chain 3. And before we do round 2 or row 2, it's really a row, but we're going around, you want to take your needle and weave these ends in. All right, I'm going to pull this out just so I can show you how I do these. I go right in this bottom of this stitch and go across. And then I'll go up to that next little bump. And that just puts them together and makes it nice and neat. There we go. And then I'll just kind of come back the way I came, making sure I go through fibers and stitches. And if you have more and you want to go back up, you certainly can. You want that to be very secure because you don't want that coming undone before we get our next row done anyway. But that's how you close up that gap. And now you have a nice round circle, much bigger than mine. And then we're ready for row 2. All right, now row 2 is nice and simple. Our chain 3 counts is our first stitch. We're going to regular double crochet in the next 2. 1 and 2. So that gives us 3 double crochets together. We're going to chain 1. We're going to skip the next double crochet and stitch 1 double crochet in the next 3. 1, 2, 3, chain 1, skip 1, 1 double crochet in the next 3. 1, 2, 3. All right, and that's super simple, and you can see why it's multiples of 4 because it's 3 double crochets and a chain 1, skip 1, and repeat all the way around. And of course, you're going to have a whole bunch more than I have here. But you're stitching chain 1, skip 1 double crochet, 1 double crochet in the next 3, chain 1, skip 1, 1 double crochet in the next 3, 1, 2, 3, chain 1, skip 1, and repeat all the way around your cowl. So I have done that around mine. 1 double crochet in the next 3, chain 1, skip 1. Here's my last one, and I'm going to join right to that chain 3 with a slip stitch and chain 3. All right, and so now what you're going to do is just repeat what we did. You're going to double crochet in those next 2 double crochets. Chain 1, skip 1, and then double crochet in the next 3, because remember that chain 3 at the beginning counted as our first, so we only double crocheted 2 times there at the beginning. Chain 3 counts as our first, and then 2 double crochets, chain 1, skip the chain, and then 1 double crochet in the next 3, chain 1, skip that chain, and double crochet in the next 3 double crochets. So it is super duper simple and really, really pretty. All right, and so we'll just repeat this around again. Chain 1, skip 1, double crochet in the next 3, and again the one you're skipping is a chain 1, so everything stays lined up. 1 double crochet in the next 3, chain 1, skip that chain 1, and double crochet in the next 3 double crochets, and repeat this all the way around, and again join back to your first chain 3. And so I have completed row 3 on my swatch, of course. I'm going to grab my actual cowl so you can see how that looks when it's laid out. See, we have our 3 double crochets, our chain 1, skip 1, 3 double crochets, chain 1, skip 1. And we did that for 2 more rows. Now you're going to do that for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 more rows. Just repeat row 3 for 7 more rows. And this is how it will look. Again, we're repeating row 3, 3 double crochets, chain 1, skip 1, 3 double crochets, all the way around, join back to your chain 3, and repeat for 7 more rows. And so here is the actual cowl, and you can see how the pattern works. 3 double crochets, chain 1, skip 1, 3 double crochets all the way around. And here's our beginning foundation double crochet row, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 rows of the repeat all together, 9 rows. Now we're going to do a row of double crochets around. All right. So I'm back to using my swatch, and I have not done those additional rows because this is just a swatch, but I am going to show you how to do row 11. Once you've stitched those 7 additional rows, it's time to do row 11. So we've chained 3. We're going to double crochet in those 2 double crochets, just like we were doing, and then we're going to double crochet in the chain 1 spaces. And this is going to give us a solid row of double crochets. All right, and so we're going to double crochet in all the double crochets, and we're going to double crochet in all of the chain 1 spaces. And this is going to give us, as I said, just a solid row of double crochets. And again, this is the bottom of our cowl. We started at the top, and then we worked all those rows, and now we're doing the bottom 2 rows. All right, and see how that makes just a nice solid row of double crochets. So we're double crocheting in each of the double crochets and 1 double crochet in each of the chain 1 spaces all the way around, and then we'll join back to our chain 3. And then we'll do 1 more row, and then it'll be time to add the fringe. All right, so once you've done your stitching all the way around of a solid row of double crochet, you're going to join to your chain 3 and chain 3. Now this last row is a little bit different. You're going to double crochet in the next 2, because our chain 3 again counts as our first, and then in that 4th stitch we're going to do a front post double crochet. So we'll go around that double crochet at the post instead of at the top and make a front post double crochet. Then we'll stitch 1 double crochet in the next 3, 1, 2, 3, and then around the next post, instead of stitching up here, we're stitching around the post of the double crochet. And that just gives it a little bit of texture and fun on the cowl. Just makes it look pretty. And it also kind of pulls it in just a smidge so you get a really nice fit. So 1 double crochet in the next 3, and front post double crochet in the next. And if you're all lined up properly, your front post will be lined up with your holes that we left our chain 1 spaces, okay? All right, so 1 double crochet in the next 3, and front post double crochet in the next, and repeat all the way around. And so I've grabbed my cowl, and I want you to see how that looks on there. You can see those front post stitches. Makes it look like there's a nice pretty line there. And it just, like I said, it adds a little bit of extra texture, and it also kind of helps pull it in a little bit so you get a nice fit at the bottom of your cowl. So once you have completed this last row, which is our 3 double crochets, front post double crochet, and repeat all the way around, you join to your chain 3 with a slip stitch and you tie off. And again, that gives you a really nice cowl. But the fringe, in my opinion, adds so much to it. And so you're going to need to cut 224 strands 9 inches long. That's why you need so much yarn. Because we're going to be making our fringe with 2 strands of yarn. And if you want about a 4.5 inch fringe at the bottom, you cut it 9 inches and then we put it on. I'm going to show you how to do that because this part takes longer than any other part. Just getting that fringe in place and having it look pretty, of course, getting it cut first. But I really love it. I think it just adds a marvelous touch to this cowl. All right, so let's cut some fringe. All right, so I've got my blocking board out here, and each one of these squares is an inch. And so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So I'll lay that out there. And I'll cut it. And what I do when I'm doing fringe is I don't try to measure them all individually like that. I cut 1 or 2 like this. Here's another. All right, so I've got 2 or 4 because we're cutting either 112 2 strands or 224 altogether. And I'll take that and I'll just start wrapping it like this because I'm going to trim it when I'm done. And so I'll just do a bunch like this. They're just about the same as that, and then I'll cut both ends, and then I'll have all of my strands without having to measure, cut, measure, cut, measure, cut. Check your measurement after so many to make sure, but I found this to be one of the easiest ways to do it if I'm doing a whole lot of fringe. Now you can also use what's called a template, and you can cut a piece of cardboard the length that you need, wrap a whole bunch of them. That works great as well. Or if you have a ruler, you can use that. But because we're cutting a lot of fringe, I found the measure it out and then wrap it like I was doing. To me, that is the quickest and easiest way to get a lot of fringe made. And we're going to trim it when we're done anyway. So if some are a little longer than others by a tiny bit, that's okay, because we'll trim it once we get it on the cowl. All right? So you need to get cutting, making some fringe. All right, so we've spent a whole long time. We've got all our fringe cut. I'll be honest with you. Something that I do is I'll cut about 10 or 12, and then I'll add them. And then I'll do 10 or 12 more, and then I'll add them. That way I'm not doing a whole bunch at once. Okay? So this is the bottom. And we want to add the fringe to the bottom. And that's the row where we did the 3 double crochets front post, okay? So you're going to take your fringe. We're going to come up from the bottom and go through both those loops because you want them to be on there securely. Grab that loop and pull it through. Make sure you get all those strands. And what you're going to do is you're going to put 2 strands on each of those stitches. Just like that, all the way around. And you can see those are close to being even. I don't try to get them perfect because they are going to move around a little bit. But once they're on, I do give them a quick trim. And so to me, this is the easiest way to cut your fringe and add them onto your cowl. And I think you're really going to love having all that fringe on there. It is a little time consuming cutting all of those, but it's well worth it in my opinion. But if you don't want to have that long of fringe, you can trim them shorter. Or if you want to make them even longer, you can make them as long as you want to. Or if you don't want them at all, don't add them. That's why I like this pattern. It's so versatile in style. And so again, here is the bottom of my cowl with all my fringe on it. And you can see it's mostly even, but you might have one that sticks out every now and then and you're like, oh, I don't like that, so just clip it off. All right, but the initial one, you want to try to get it as even as possible. And I love the fringe. I think it looks absolutely gorgeous on here. All right, and so the last thing we're going to do is make the tie and these little pom-poms. So we're going to make the long tie first, and it's really simple. We're just going to grab our 2 strands of yarn, make our slip knot, and we're going to chain 112 chains. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And you can grab that stitch marker. Get it out of there. There we go. And mark that, because that's 10 chains. And that will keep you from having to keep recounting. All right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And we'll just repeat this until we have 112 chains. So I have chained with 2 strands, 112 chains, and I ended up marking it every 20 instead of every 10, because for some reason these rubber stitch markers, they're like a plastic, like a jelly, like those old jelly shoes, they didn't want to stay in. That's okay. So once you get 112, you're going to cut your yarn and tie off, and then you're going to put a little knot on the end of each of your ends. And I like to make sure they're nice and secure, because we're going to add the pom-poms to the ends of our ties. All right, now we're going to take this and we're going to go ahead and put it on our cowl. Okay, let me untie this so you can see how we do this. This is the top where we started with our foundation double crochet. So you can just pick anywhere where you have your chain 1 space, and you just put it loop through. I'm going to show you with this one. You want to put this on before the pom-poms, though, because you won't be able to get the pom-poms through the hole. All right, so what you're going to do, let's bring the loop this way, and then you just grab those and pull them through that loop. All right, and so that's all you do. If you want this gathered up some, you can bring this down, this loop down, and gather that up if you want a gathered look. I just didn't care for it for this one, but if you do, that's okay. All right, and so now you have your ties on your cowl, and the last thing is the pom-poms. Now I'm just going to show you a really quick and easy way to make a pom-pom. All right, now this pom-pom is not a big tight pom-pom, it's one of the floofy ones. And so you're going to take 2 strands, cut about a 12-inch piece, set that aside, and then we're going to take 2 strands of our yarn. We're going to put it in the palm of our hand, and we're just going to start wrapping it. And you can wrap it as many times as you want to. That pom-pom can be as big as you want or as small as you want. It's totally up to you. Now I like a floofy pom-pom, so didn't even count it. I just until it felt right. Okay. Now we're going to set it down like this. Only we're going to set it on those strings. And we're going to tie this super duper tight. And if you need a friend to hold your knot, grab you a good friend. And I always do it myself. And I'm pulling the whole time, nice and snug. And then I'm just going to tie another knot. All right, now the fun part. Move these strands out of the way. I'm going to grab my pink container that I use all the time, and I'm just going to start clipping these loops. Now you can get a bigger pair of scissors. Just make sure you've got your 2 strands up here. You don't want to cut those, okay? Just cut all those loops. And don't worry at this point if it's not perfect, because we're going to trim it. Now, they do have pom-pom makers out there that you can use. There's several different kinds. Or again, like I was talking about with the fringe, you can use a template and make it the exact size that you want it. But I just like to have fun with it and just play. Okay, and I have several different pom-pom makers, several different types of fringe makers, also tassel. I always call them tassels, but they're tassels. That you can use to make the job easier. I like doing it this way. This is how we learned to do it years ago before they made pom-pom makers and all of that stuff. All right, I see some loops here that didn't get cut. We'll cut those. I'll give it a good shake. All right. Look at it again. See some spots I don't like, and just trim it. And again, you want it to kind of resemble a snowball. You don't want it to be perfect. You don't want it to be, you know, unless you do. You can have it perfect if you want to. I just find this process kind of fun. It's a little messy too, but that's okay. I got a vacuum cleaner. All right, so now I've got a nice floofy pom-pom, and I'm going to bring it up this way and kind of smash it, but don't cut my strands that are hanging down. This way I can get another view and cut the edges again. And I'm sure I'm doing a whole lot more cutting than you would if you used a pom-pom maker. So grab your pom-pom maker and have some fun. It's okay. You know, I always say, you do what works best for you. So there's a nice floofy pom-pom. And now we're just going to add it to our tie. All right, now the way I like to add my pom-poms to the end of the tie is I like to go in that last chain and pull one of those ties this way, and then come the other direction in the next chain and grab the other one. And now I'm just going to make a nice tie. And it's okay to put a knot here because it's going to be hidden in the pom-pom. Now I'm going to take the ends of the tie and the ends of the pom-pom, and we're just going to tie them together. And I do this because I want this pom-pom to stay on the end of my tie. I don't want it coming off. All right? So you got to tie it on there securely. And then what I do with these ties is I don't cut them off. I cut them so that they sort of blend in with the pom-pom. Okay? And now they're all blended in. And if they're too long, trim them. And give your pom-pom another really good look. Make sure you got all the pieces trimmed that you want trimmed. Here's the actual pom-poms on my actual cowl, and I really love how they look. And so the very last thing we need to do, you can either let them hang, or you can see these are offset. One is shorter than the other, which I really like. I did that on purpose, but you can adjust that, of course. But make a bow if you want to, so your pom-poms are up high. And it's super cute. Okay, so that's our snowbound cowl with pom-poms and fringe.